Hello and welcome to my documentary on the history of visual and audio production. The Lumiere brothers were two French brothers who pioneered the film industry. They are most known for their 1895 film Arrival of a Train at La Ciotat, one of the first moving films shown to the public. It is reported that the public ran in terror as the train approached due to them never seeing moving pictures before. As they were some of the first filmmakers, they didn't have any editing or filming techniques, so all of their films were cut with zero editing and were all filmed on one static camera. Their films were about mundane activities, like a train boarding or factory workers leaving. This is my own example of what their films were like. To capture the style of Lumiere films, there was zero editing and it was all filmed on one static camera. The only large difference between the films is colour. But the Lumiere brothers were not the only pioneers in editing. There is also Georges Méliès was a French filmmaker who invented the editing technique known as jump cuts. He discovered this technique by accident when the camera broke mid-filming a road, and when it was fixed, the cars in the background had completely changed. He used this technique in his films like The Conjurer and The Trip to the Moon. This technique was one of the first ever editing effects and was made by pausing and resuming filming with the characters in different positions. This is an example of the effect in which the two characters appear to teleport locations. As you can see, my clip is in colour, so the change in lighting is much more obvious than in Méliès' films. But there are still more film pioneers who greatly influenced the film industry. Edwin S. Porter was an American filmmaker who pioneered editing techniques like cross-editing, also known as parallel editing. It is an editing technique used to show the two scenes in different locations happening at the same time. This effect was first used in Porter's film The Great Train Robbery. The cross-tracking in this scene is when it shows the police having a hoedown whilst the robbers are fleeing in the woods. I created my own example of cross-tracking, which was for an extended version of our standoff video. I think some of the cross-cutting effects worked well in this video, like the poster shot, but some didn't work quite as well. Méliès also commonly broke the fourth wall in his films, where the characters in his films react to the audience. Fourth wall breaks are still commonly used in comedic movies nowadays. Porter is not the only filmmaker who pioneered some editing techniques. Another important figure in the film industry, and who has helped influence modern movies, is Kuleshov was a Russian filmmaker who discovered that film could easily influence the viewers. This effect was known as the Kuleshov effect, and how it works is that a shot of one person placed next to the shot of something would influence someone's opinion on the person. For example, a person with a bland expression next to a plate of food or a child's coffin greatly influences what the audience thinks of them. This effect became more well known when film director Alfred Hitchcock demonstrated it in this video.
Now the third way is what one might call pure cinematics, the assembly of film, and how it can be changed to create a different idea. Now we have a close-up. Let me show what he sees. Let's assume he saw a woman holding a baby in her arms. Now we cut back to his reaction to what he sees, and he smiles. Now what is he as a character? He's a kindly man. He's sympathetic. Now, let's take the middle piece of film away, the woman with the child, but leave his two pieces of film as they were. Now we'll put in a piece of film of a girl in a bikini. He looks, girl in a bikini, he smiles. What is he now? The dirty old man.
In this video, it shows how people's opinion of the characters changed based on what shot they are with. We created a video that showed off this effect too. My example isn't as good as Hitchcock's, as the three scenes the characters react to are quite similar, and the character has a less neutral expression. All of these people helped shape the modern film industry, and many of their advice techniques are still used in films today. Before sound was added to film, silent films were often viewed with a live instrumental performance. Depending on the viewing location, the type of instrument would change from an organ in a small tent to a live orchestra in the theatre. As the music was live, sometimes during viewing, sounds might not be correctly synced up, so if something sad was happening on the screen, the music might have been from 10 seconds before when the tone is happy. The first film to use sound was The Jazz Singer in 1927, where sound was used when the main character was singing. This film would be highly controversial nowadays. The scenes where the character sings, they are dressed in blackface, which is extremely controversial and highly racist. Steamboat Willie was the first film to fully use sound, and it used this for most of its aspects. Sound was used to enhance jokes as it added in extra effects or slapstick. All the sound effects of the film were Foley, recorded custom for the film. What is Foley? Foley is Foley are sound effects that are custom created by the film company, which are used to give sound effects to a scene. Most blockbuster movies create and use their own sound effects, which gets added during editing with pre-made sound effects. Using custom Foley, we create a film using a close shot effect, but instead of different clips put next to it, we put in the same sounds to make it feel like the character had changed, despite the shot being the exact same.
Attack! Charge!
Mise-en-scène, all filmmakers follow when creating their films. The 5 elements of mise-en-scène are settings and props, costume, makeup and hair, lighting and colours, performance and composition. We used mise-en-scène when planning and creating our own film, The. We created a short film with the premise of a Mexican standoff. We had to make it similar to the shootout scene in The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. In this scene, there were many close-ups of the characters' faces and guns. This helped build the tension in the scene by having the cut step faster and closer. This is my finished film. This is an example of the style and how we used mise-en-scène to make it work. To make it feel tense, I used what was demonstrated in the movie, cuts that get quicker and closer as the suspension builds. The video also used a rule of filmmaking known as the 180-degree rule. This rule is used in most films and makes the shots flow better. This rule is part of a larger style called continuity editing. Is for when a filmmaker wants the scene to flow with all the shots being consistent. Styles like matching action and the 180-degree rule help make scenes feel more consistent and flow better. We use this style of editing to create an interrogation sheet which would follow the rules of matching action and the 180-degree rule. We use these rules to make the film flow better as seen in my film.
So Cameron, after all this time, it comes to this.
I don't know what you mean. Who are you?
Don't give me that. I've been on your tail for months, tracing your phone calls, following your movements, digging around in every hidey hole you've been using, like the dirty little rat you are.
Listen, I don't know what you're talking about. I've just got to tell my shit to be here.
And you came running like your type always does, scum rising to the surface. Where have you hidden the money?
What money? I think you got the wrong person.
Oh, you think you're so smart? You think we don't know what you've been up to? Well, what about this?
No, I don't know what that is. I don't know what you're talking about. I think you got the wrong guy.
We know exactly what you've done, and we'll prove it too.
To make it better during editing, we filmed each shot from 3 different angles and edited them to work better. This is known as shot reverse shot. Alternative editing is the opposite of continuity editing. It is made to look as least consistent as possible, with cuts switching between the locations and the characters' changing position. It is a visible style of editing, where you don't need to believe in what is happening on the screen. Montages are a style of alternative editing where what is shot rapidly changes each cut. They are usually cut to music and each is set to the beat. The story is often told over the course of the montage, like a change of location or a character learning a skill. For example, in Rocky, there's a training montage where the audience sees how the character gets stronger. I created an example of a montage with the brief of lunch in 60 seconds. This is my clip. I made sure it was as little consistent edited as possible, with the character locations being different from the previous clip, as well as having all the shots timed to the beat. But montage is not the only form of alternative editing. There is also New Wave editing is a form of alternative editing that makes the audience think more about the film. All the techniques are very visible, like jump cuts, split screen, slow motion, superimposition, and visual effects. As an example of these techniques, I added extra effects onto the montage film, like superimposition and split screen. I tried to add as many new wave effects into my film as I could, which is why some didn't work as well as others. Working on this documentary, I learned a lot about the history of filmmaking and gained a further understanding of how to utilize these techniques. Bye.